Aita for abandoning my sister when she needed me. I, 26, am the older brother of two sisters, Maya, 19, and Tia, 21. Our parents are complete assholes, and Maya was their golden child. And honestly, a complete and utter spoiled bee. I get that's harsh to say about a kid, but she was. She got special treatment and would get away with murder. Our parents basically encouraged it despite basically leaving me to raise my sisters so they could enjoy selves. When I was 18, Tia was 13 and Maya was 11, I moved out. I stayed in contact with Tia, though I quickly gave up on trying to connect with Maya honestly. Our parents and Maya were absolutely horrible to Tia while I was gone. So when she was 18, Tia moved out and has stayed with me. I've made her get some therapy and done my best to be a good brother, and she's managed to be a lot happier since. Though after that I basically didn't see our parents or Maya. However, last November Maya randomly reached out to us. Tia just ignored it. But Maya is still my little sister, so I gave her a chance. In the time without us she'd really missed us and realized just how spoilt and cruel she was acting. Apparently part of how she treated Tia was jealousy of how I was so close to her but not Maya, though it obviously doesn't justify it. She had felt guilty for a while, but was scared to reach out in case we'd reject her. She felt really sincere and was really apologetic and seemed ashamed. I forgave her, and we started talking a lot. I became close to Maya really quickly. We get along great now, and we're actually pretty similar. Unfortunately, Tia refuses to forgive her, or even respond. I think she's being a little unfair, but I understand how she feels. From talking I noticed that Maya seems to be having a hard time at home. She wasn't going to say anything but ended up spilling when I pressed her. Our parents basically turned on her the moment we left. She wasn't the golden child anymore and had to suffer our parents' bullshit. Honestly, I'm ashamed to admit but I never considered how our parents would treat her with us gone. With how horrible our parents are, I wanted to ask her to move in with me. Now, I want to make it clear, I'm the renter. The rental agreement and bills and everything are all under my name. Tia contributes, but since she's still in university and my little sister it's much less, and unofficial. But when I brought up the idea, Tia was furious. She rejected it. I tried to compromise and talk, but it went nowhere. So in the end I told Tia I'm offering, and that she can be civil or I can help her move somewhere else. Maya accepted, coming to stay next week, and Tia is pissed and feels I'm choosing the golden child over her. But I'm not. Maya is suffering and I want to help. She's a different person now. I understand Tia hurts, and I get her anger, but Maya also needs me right now. Tia is still angry, and our friends think it was an idiot move. But Maya is my sister, and I don't think it's wrong to help her. I helped Tia back then too. Edit. I went to sleep with posts stopping, and didn't expect to wake up to all this. There were so many so I wasn't sure how to respond to everyone so I just left it. Read and thought about it for a while. There are a few things I want to clear up first though. 1. Maya isn't lying about this. I know my parents, and Maya didn't even want to tell me about her issues at home. There is basically no chance it's all a lie. And she has tried to talk to and apologize to Tia. Tia just won't let her. I know what she did in the past was horrible, but she isn't just manipulating me to hurt Tia. She genuinely hated how she was, and just wants to live somewhere safe and happy and loved. 2. I get it wasn't enough, but the timeline was admittedly poorly written. We started discussing it last month. She knew about this decision for a couple of weeks. While I now see it was misguided and cruel, it wasn't just a week. 3. I don't know if it's appropriate to go too in-depth, but Maya's acts against Tia were verbal and psychological. It was disgusting and I know how deeply it hurt Tia. Our parents were mostly really neglectful, aside from verbal, emotional abuse and rewarding Maya for being the golden child. Being perfect and cruel meant she would get their love, which neither of us did. Thanks to everyone for their perspective. I didn't realize how naive I was in thinking this would work out. I'm going to try to see if some friends can take Maya in for now, and maybe if she can get her own place. I'm going to try to be there for both of them, and ask Tia to forgive me for being so short-sighted and stupid. I hope they can eventually work things out, but like people are saying it might just be a stupid pipe dream. I think the best plan is to help get Maya a cheap flat or something nearby, and I'll help out where she needs it. Update. I posted last year, trying to help my golden child sister Maya, at the expense of my other sister Tia. I didn't expect so many responses or the hate I got, though I now realize how badly I fricked up. While I still think how people wrote about Maya was disgusting and unfair, how I treated Tia was cruel and ignorant. I was trying to help everyone and be practical, but I neglected to properly consider the emotional side. While unintentional, I was just ignoring Tia's pain and trauma. The responses were a wake-up call and I realized I was just going to ruin everything. While it wasn't meant that way, it would just hurt Tia and ruin our relationship. I managed to convince some friends to let Maya stay with them and looked for a place. Currently, Tia still lives with me, while I found a cheap one-bedroom for Maya. It's been rough financially, but I managed to get everything my sisters need. A few sacrifices don't matter compared to them. Maya needed help adjusting and learning to be independent, so I did have to focus on her initially. And Tia absolutely hated me giving her any attention, so it was extremely difficult at first. But it got a lot better as Maya adjusted and grew more independent and I could balance my time better. It's not perfect, but we've gotten into a rhythm the best we can. Maya has grown a lot, and can mostly live by herself now, though I obviously still help. Therapy has really helped her and she's made a lot of friends at university. While she still wants Tia's forgiveness, she's accepted it's not in her control and to focus on living her life and improving herself. I'm really happy she's free of our parents' influence. She's nothing like she used to be. Though I do wish I had tried harder when she was younger rather than giving up. Tia isn't completely happy. I don't think she'll ever forgive Maya. I've done my best to make it clear I love her, and Maya isn't my favorite, but it's been hard. We get joint therapy that helps a lot, but she still wishes it was just us. Still, she's finally able to understand that helping Maya isn't rejecting her. I'm so thankful and lucky Tia could forgive me. She means the world to me. I never intended to hurt her, though I clearly completely fricked up my approach. We basically just avoided the Maya situation, and have managed to get back to normal. She's such a strong woman. I'm honestly so proud of her and so ashamed of how short-sighted I was. As selfish as it is, a part of me will always wish Tia could forgive her. But I know that's impossible and selfish. I don't think Tia will ever fully accept that Maya is a part of my life. The most I'll get is Tia and Maya being in one building for my wedding. But honestly, that's enough for me. They're both victims of our parents, so I'm just glad they can both be happy and free. While it's not a fairy tale ending, everything is going well. I'm glad I posted and was able to fix my horrible mistake. Not the idiot. Don't listen to all the bullshit. Fucking Reddit loves a story with a bad guy they can hate and a victim they can sympathize with. What you're doing and sacrificing for your sisters is beyond admirable. You're a good person and the world needs more people like you. I hope you too can find your peace someday. Not the idiot. And you are one heck of a guy, in the best way possible. You stepped up for both your little sisters, took criticism like a champ, and made it work even when it was hard as hell. It isn't a fairy tale ending, sure, but so often situations like this in the real world don't even have a vaguely hopeful one. You're a badass. Did he betray Tia? Let me know in the comments. Now, Aita for kicking out my MIL in the middle of the night. Some background: I, male 32, and my wife, female 25, have been together for 5 years and married for 3 and are expecting our son RN. We have our ups and downs when we first got together because I was fresh out of an abusive relationship and I was her first boyfriend. But I had always noticed that she was really demeaning about herself and she was always really disappointed in herself, and this was just 6 months into our relationship and it hurt to see her like that since she is an amazing woman. I convinced her to go to therapy, and to her, we would do couple therapy because I did really love her in the short amount of time, and during therapy, I learned that her parents were narcissists who only loved her brother, their golden child, and when she relayed the abuse she faced I honestly cried, and that whole experience made us the strong couple we are today, and the strong woman she is today. Back to present: my mother-in-law and father-in-law have gotten a little better over the years, which is why we are at LC from our no contact position. My mother-in-law came to visit us, still alive overseas, since my wife is pregnant, and it has been only a week and my wife's mood is completely dimmed. This happened at night when we were sleeping. My wife went to get some juice since she was craving it while I went to the washroom and came back to see a glass on the floor and my mother-in-law shouting at my wife. I couldn't handle my anger and shouted at her to get out and told her if she didn't I was gonna call the police, so she begrudgingly got out of the house. I calmed my wife down and she told me mother-in-law had gotten mad at her because she wanted to drink apple juice because it's bad for the baby and how she doesn't deserve to have a baby if she wanted to kill it. I am now getting calls from her family saying I am an idiot because I kicked her out, and I even got a call from my parents saying it was an idiot move and I could have let her stay the night, and I understand I might be the idiot cause I kicked her out in the middle of the night, but at that moment looking at my wife shaking it was the best option, so Reddit, am I the idiot? Update: it's been nearly 3 weeks since my last post. A lot has happened since. First off, we're back home in Switzerland, the kids are okay. As planned, we moved in with my family. The kids are bonding with their grandparents and cousins and the animals. They're set up for therapy. As am I. The events leading up to this, I went back to my in-laws to explain my side of the story. I told them again that we would be coming back, but that right now I need to make sure that I can be a good mom to my kids. They were very understanding and asked if they could take the kids the next day. I agreed and dropped them off. However, the pickup didn't go as planned. The kids weren't ready and father-in-law told me that they decided it would be best for everyone if they stayed with them for a while, as I was clearly unstable. There was screaming, tears, threats, and lots of ugly things were said. I called my lawyer, who told me to call the police. Luckily it didn't come to that and they gave me back the kids. But honestly that was it for me. Trust gone. I booked flights for us and arranged what I could in such a limited time span. I told my in-laws that they had seriously hurt my trust and that I would need time to think about what this means for the future. They were allowed to say goodbye to the kids in person. We arrived at home on Monday. The kids already video called my in-laws, as I want to make it as easy as possible for them to transition. I am very hurt and disappointed that it had to end this way, but also hopeful for the future. Right now I'm enjoying getting pampered by my mom, who's very excited to be part of this pregnancy. In the future I'll try and rekindle the relationship with my in-laws. Not the idiot. Great to hear that things are resolving the way they likely should. I hope your parents never side against you like that again. They had no reason to believe mother-in-law's horrible account that their own son was an abuser. That part is the biggest betrayal for me out of all of this, as the wife's parents are already known narcissists, not the idiot. Good on both of you for sticking to your guns and getting all this out in the open. Narcissists thrive on partial information. By sharing this with everyone in your extended family, it puts the mom in the spotlight, where it will be a lot harder to get away with it. Is she wrong for kicking her mother-in-law out? Let me know in the comments. No, Aita for taking my children away from their grandparents after my husband died. I, female 34, met my husband while I was doing an exchange semester in Australia when I was 20. We later got married and I moved to Australia permanently. We have 2 kids, female 6 and female 4, and I'm 4 months pregnant. My husband passed away 3 months ago. It was and still is horrible. With my husband not being here anymore, I want to move back to my home country. I think it will be good for my kids because the education system over there is heaps better, but the main reason is that I need my family. My 4-year-old doesn't really have an opinion on it. My 6-year-old is excited because my parents have horses. Here in Australia, my husband's parents look after our kids Monday to Friday, as my husband and I both had full-time jobs. So, obviously they are close. Mother-in-law and father-in-law are very attached to the kids and love being grandparents. Last weekend I broke the news to them. I didn't expect them to be happy, but I was hoping they'd understand. They didn't. It was ugly. They asked me how dare I take away their grandchildren after they lost their only son. They said my husband would be disappointed and he'd want his children to grow up in Australia. I had to leave because I couldn't handle the situation. I feel guilty because my husband did want to stay in Australia, but mainly because that's where we settled. I don't think he'd be disappointed. I think he'd understand. But I feel so guilty but also angry. I feel like it was cruel of mother-in-law and father-in-law to say what they said. I plan to come back to Australia regularly because I don't want to deprive my children of their heritage, and it has become my home over the years. Basically, is it wrong to move back home? Update. It's been nearly 3 weeks since my last post. A lot has happened since. First off, we're back home in Switzerland. The kids are okay. As planned, we moved in with my family. The kids are bonding with their grandparents and cousins and the animals. They're set up for therapy, as am I. The events leading up to this, I went back to my in-laws to explain my side of the story. I told them again that we would be coming back, but that right now I need to make sure that I can be a good mom to my kids. They were very understanding and asked if they could take the kids the next day. I agreed and dropped them off. However, the pickup didn't go as planned. The kids weren't ready, and father-in-law told me that they decided it would be best for everyone if they stayed with them for a while, as I was clearly unstable. There was screaming, tears, threats, and lots of ugly things were said. I called my lawyer, who told me to call the police. Luckily, it didn't come to that and they gave me back the kids. But honestly, that was it for me. Trust gone. I booked flights for us and arranged what I could in such a limited time span. I told my in-laws that they had seriously hurt my trust and that I would need time to think about what this means for the future. They were allowed to say goodbye to the kids in person. We arrived at home on Monday. The kids already video called my in-laws, as I want to make it as easy as possible for them to transition. I am very hurt and disappointed that it had to end this way, but also hopeful for the future. Right now I'm enjoying getting pampered by my mom, who's very excited to be part of this pregnancy. In the future I'll try and rekindle the relationship with my in-laws. Not the idiot. You now know what their plan was. To try and act as if you were mentally unstable and take your kids from you. Possibly sticking you in a psych ward to cement their position. I'd be frank with them and say you don't plan on going back now until you get over their complete betrayal and trying to kidnap your children. But you had thought they were going to make it easy to keep the kids in their lives. But they made sure that it's not going to be an easy thing. Not the idiot. I'm glad you were able to take your children back after a clear kidnapping attempt. And I'm happier you got out of the country as soon as possible because of that. They definitely showed their tried colors, like someone else on this thread said. May you be happy in Switzerland with your children. Is it cruel to take these kids away from the grieving grandparents? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching and have a great day.